Welcome guys, because in this amazing video we will take a look at the incredible Vienna Gambit. This gambit begins after e4, e5. You develop your knight to c3, the Vienna Gambit. He develops his knight, attacking your own pawn which you have previously defended. You break in the center by playing f4. Now he captures and you push your pawn one square forward, hitting away his knight. Now the knight can go nowhere apart from to its original square. The moment he moves back, do not rush to play pawn to d4 as you have lost your castling rights, but rather play knight to f3, stopping the queen from coming to h4. He will definitely try to break in the center. Do not capture this pawn as you have created problems for yourself in the future. You can take back, and if you notice here, black now has easy development. You can still develop, but then in the long run you are definitely losing, and this is not what I want to achieve by teaching you this opening. So you play d4, strengthening your pawn on e5, and he takes. Now your aim is not to take back but to move your queen one square in front of the king. Black can't take your pawn on d4 because your queen is in the line of sight of his king. He does want to defend it and you simply capture with your queen. Now the most common move by your opponent is actually to bring out their knight, attacking your own queen, but you simply ignore their move and develop your bishop. Now the knight can't capture your queen because your bishop pinned their knight to their king. Chess is wide. He tries to kick it away so you can capture your queen, but you simply capture his knight. And this is just one out of many I'll show you in this video, so stick around and watch to the end. This example leaves white totally winning. You develop with the same e4, e5, you develop your knight, he develops his knight, and you strike in the center with f4, the Vienna Gambit. Now we are going to be looking at if he doesn't take back. If he doesn't take back and develops his knight, then you simply take and you still attack his knight. The moment he takes back, you don't develop your knight as he will just trade and he's actually comfortable, but you chase away his knight and take up space in the center with d4. His knight must move. Then you continue the initial idea in the Vienna Gambit, which is to kick away this knight on f6, and the moment the knight goes back, don't forget develop your knight to f3 to avoid black's queen from coming to h4. In this position, no matter what white plays, you are just trailing. Next, you kick away this knight. The moment the knight moves back, you develop your bishop, and you can even castle, and probably all said and done. I mean, this position is actually incredibly good for you. Black tries something funny like this. You can simply just jump here, hitting the queen and the rook. If the king captures, you can simply push it from one square forward. This is just disaster for black. Now let's look at the Vienna Gambit declined. e4, e5, normal stuff. Black actually knows the opening and does not accept this pawn, but plays d6, the best move. Now you simply develop your knight the normal way, and these are all book moves. You take up space in the center, very important. You don't take the knight on c6 because it will give black an advantage to break your d4, e4 center. You retreat because you are playing d5 on the next move. You capture, and this is just so sweet for white because white has a lot of attacking chances. White is castled and you can easily launch an attack on the king's side. How cool is that? This is actually called the Vienna main line. Oh my god, and this line is so long and complicated, but let me show you what the ideas are. White definitely knows the line and doesn't play d6 but plays d5. Now you uses his knight to take your own pawn. Simply develop your queen, get an advantage, and you start developing pieces. Castle on the king's side, threatening to play this bishop move. Once you do it, black can actually fight back, which you can totally ignore and fight for a reasonable advantage. And this is actually winning for white. And after all said and done, black tries to find a draw, which obviously we are not giving it. And this is actually winning for white. Okay, that is actually one main line. Let me show you another detailed main line. We'll go for the normal opening basic stuff. And here you pin the knight Don't forget, Vienna, whenever your opponent plays knight to c6, your response will always, 99% out of 100, your response will be always use your bishop and pin the knight to the king. And once that is done, yeah, you can even trade, but the engine prefers we don't trade. Develop your knight and you castle, and this queen is actually in soup because why not? By the way, this is actually a brilliant move because no matter where your queen moves to is actually going to be mate in a couple of moves. Now let's say your queen moves here, your queen is safe, yes, but you can simply give a check, it captures, and this is actually mate. I'm sure you don't want that for your king. Your king moves, let's say here, I mean it's actually the same thing, no hope for the king, and this is actually still mate. White actually stops white's plan and defends the e7 square. Then you can simply capture the knight, and this is checkmate. And if she chooses not to capture and captures the pawn, you can simply take the queen, you can take back. This is actually the only defense that black can put up. How crushing is this opening? Please like, share and subscribe. E4, E5, always strike in the center, takes back, and these main lines are actually kind of long. And tell me whether you can win as white from this particular position. Bear in mind that you can develop your bishop to f4, you can take your other bishop to d5 and give a check, and just you have many developing moves that can actually stabilize your position. Now this is the Vienna Gambit main line, and this is punishing the copycat variation. This is a variation that black mimics anything you do in this variation. So you play queen to g4, eyeing the pawn on g7, and he cannot play his own queen to g5, so he must play queen to f6. Then you jump in with your knight, threatening to fork the king and the rook on c7. He captures, feeling on top of the world, and just here you sidestep your king. And now it looks like black is actually having a good position, but after you sidestep your king, black can't really do anything because anything he does is losing. You can simply develop your knight, hitting the queen. This is the most common move. He comes here, attempting to actually capture your bishop and play d3. Now this is actually protecting your bishop, and you are actually threatening to play c3, trapping the queen on the next move. In order to delay it, he actually plays g6 and you sidestep, and he captures your knight, which you capture back with your pawn because his king and rook were under threat of a fork, and you bring your rook here. The reason why you brought your rook here is by the time you play c3, the queen will actually not have anywhere to go. Take for instance, you play c3 now. You can see that the queen can actually come here and the queen is not trapped anymore. So it's important not to rush into your advantage. He draws back, but this does nothing as he can still trap the queen. Yes, he sacrificed his knight and got out of the trap, but then he's still not entirely free from the queen trap, and the queen is ultimately lost. This is a Vienna Gambit, the tricky variation. You play out the Vienna Gambit and you break in the center, very very important. Now he actually goes for attack, which you actually ignore. He castles because you actually threaten a fork on f7. He castles and you cut off the bishop's line of sight from the knight. The only option is to jump into the queen and your rook, but you simply ignore it. He does this. You can simply take with your knight, hitting the queen and also threatening a discover check on the king. Let's say he moves here, he's actually roast because this actually loses the queen. But to save himself from all those stress, he actually sacrificed his queen for this knight, as the queen will still go. We are going to take an example. You play the Vienna Gambit, break in the center, and he makes this blunder. You can simply capture. He captures back, you push your pawn, gets the center, he must go back, and you push his knight back again. Develop your own knight to avoid his queen from coming to h3. Basic stuff I taught you earlier in this video. He takes this pawn, which is actually a blunder, and you punish him because this queen is actually trapped and is getting gradually squeezed. Personally, I think taking with the queen is actually nice, but I guess the engine is seeing what I didn't see. You attack the queen, and the knight must actually move back. Now this king is actually roast, as in a couple of moves is actually getting checkmated. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.